Hello there. It's time for most things Kenobi. I prefer all things Kenobi, but I suppose that's not the Jedi way. As long as it's not all things Anakin.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Most Things Kenobi, a podcast about Obi-Wan Kenobi and all things Star Wars. I'm your host, Lauren.
And I'm your host, Leanne.
And it's time to wrap up Andor. I don't know about you.
It really is.
But I'm exhausted from this recording schedule.
Bi-weekly has become a lot easier on our very busy lives, hasn't it?
I don't know how we used to do this every week. Oh, my Lord.
It's crazy. We were going at a pretty hard clip, but Andor alone is exhausting.
Yeah, yes.
So,
oh, my God. I'm physically tired. I'm emotionally tired. I'm just spiritually tired. I'm done.
yeah, well, so is Andor. I mean, so is Cassian, period.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Wah, wah. Oh man, we've been dying to record this episode since it aired.
Yeah, we've been delayed a few times and now we're finally getting to talk. I'm so ready. It's going to be cathartic. I've been like talking to myself walking around my house.
Seriously. Really?
I have so many feelings. I just had to talk to myself about it. I've talked to other people too, but it's not been enough.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
It's not. Yeah.
Well, shall we?
Yes, so spoiler alert, of course. If you haven't watched, 10, 11, and 12 of Andor
Correct.
Season 2, then turn back now. But let's launch into this.
Yeah. God. And with that being said, we have the first episode, which, in all seriousness, probably my favorite episode of the season.
It was
episode 10.
So good. It was
I can pretty much say it was my favorite episode of the season.
Yeah. I was on the edge of my seat, fully engaged the entire time.
The amount of emotion in every piece of it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It was very complex emotion. I was watching some interviews with the actress who plays Clea, Elizabeth Delau, I think is her name. And oh my gosh, she's a new actress. She's literally out of RADA, the British School for Drama. Just like right before she got cast in Andor, she just graduated drama school. This is her first thing really ever.
Holy shit.
Right? She's amazing.
Congrats to her. Kudos.
Yeah. Tony Gilroy said they had cast someone else, and then those people got, jobs somewhere else, and they released them from their contract, and then found Elizabeth.
Oh my God.
And he was like, we weren't really sure, how she was going to be. And he's like, after season 1, it was like, she's very skilled. So they wrote her a much bigger part in season 2. And thank God, because it was so
fantastic.
Good. Holy shit.
She was, this episode, I was moved from start to finish in so many ways, and like angry emotions and sad, desperate, full of feeling emotions, and just, oh my God.
Yeah.
So hands off to her acting abilities, which I had you couldn't have told me at the beginning that she was fresh out of acting school, because she's really good, and it was really obvious in this episode. And I just have to say that I thought it was a very appropriate send-off for a really complex, pivotal character like Luthen, especially the parting shot, which, I mean, we'll get to, but like, I thought it was a very good way to say goodbye to him after all this. And then even the lingering pieces that followed in the next 2 episodes, the mentioning of him.
Yeah.
Luthen is one of those characters. It's like, is he good? Is he bad? No, he's good. But no, he's not that good.
Yeah.
His intent is good. Is it? Like, and the way that, what's his name? Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan, excuse me, because there's like 15 of them. Stellan's performance, he's like a top-notch actor anyway, but his performance is just, it brought the nuances that character required, and I just, hats off, round of applause.
Yeah.
Really, truly. I didn't want to see him go, but we knew it was coming. The pain was coming.
I think it's great that in his final episode, they did all the flashbacks. So you get they orient you to the character finally. This guy's been like a mystery the entire time. I think that was a really good way of doing it. And Stellan was saying that he and Tony had conversations really early on. And originally, Tony had an idea that Stellan's family had been murdered. Well, Luthen's family. Luthen's family had been murdered, and he was like on a revenge track. And what they ended up doing is making him a soldier, which they weren't 100% clear, but it seemed like he was in the Empire, and that Clea is the one who wanted revenge, and Clea is the one who pushed Luthen into being a revolutionary, because she was very clear. It
was very clear.
They said this in the interview too, that like she always knew that that's what she wanted, that she was ready to take action, and Luthen was the one who was like, make sure you're sure. And she was sure.
She was very sure. I mean, also kudos to the young actress who played young Clea.
Yeah.
Because, wow.
She was great.
My jaw literally dropped when I realized what any of that was. Who was looking through like the slats in the
ship.
In the ship.
Yeah.
And like she was like a runaway. She was not a captive. She was one of them that was being attacked. And then when they said down the line, like, is this your daughter? Yeah. And I mean, she basically became that for him.
Well, and he said, when it's convenient, we will be.
Yeah, right. When it works, when it works for us, when it fits us.
And I saw Elizabeth give an interview saying that Clea never thought of him as her father, that she actually had a complex, a bunch of, we're just jumping all around, but like she said that basically when she kills Luthen at the end, that she does it using the part of herself that hates him for what he did to her people. And she says that's part of why she's always so prickly, is because she still carries that pain that will always be between them, but she also did grow to love him in a way, and that's why you see the little soft moments between them. I mean, it's such a fun, complex relationship, and now to go back and rewatch it in that context, I think will be really interesting.
Totally.
Well, before any of this happens, the opening sequence is actually present day. It's not flashbacks of Lonnie reaching out to Luthen.
Yeah.
With the big information.
So if I understand this correctly, we have Lonnie to thank.
Yes.
By way of Dedra?
Yes. Because apparently he got like her passwords.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah. Like such an interesting way to reveal it. My only complaint is that they left it to the last second. I feel like this really needed more of a run-up, considering how complex Rogue One becomes. I don't believe that all gets falls into place in a 24-hour period, but whatever, that's fine. That's my only complaint with this, is the timeline, basically. But yeah, my God, I feel so bad for Lonnie. He is like this unsung hero who's been sweating his ass off trying to pass information to the rebellion in the belly of the beast, right in the center of all the evil, and then
that's it.
Done. Luthen kills him.
Well, he had to have known.
The minute Lonnie was like, "Where are we going?" and he says Yavin, I was like, "Oh, he would not, he wouldn't tell him that if he meant to take him there. It's too risky."
Nope. And it's way too risky.
As soon as he said that, I was like, "Oh, Lonnie,
he's dead." Yep. Sweet summer child is back.
Exactly.
Which is sad because he did reveal he had a wife and a child, and so of course they're left behind with all of this.
And the way it all played out, the ISB didn't really catch on right away that it was Lonnie. Lonnie wasn't just murdered. At first they kind of thought that's what happened, and then they realized, oh, he's been in Dedra's files, and it just becomes a very complex web very quickly in the ISB.
I love it.
It was really fun.
I love the whole thing because this is exactly how the Empire operates. And we've been saying it since day one.
Yeah. You're only on top for a while, and then somehow the system will eat you. It always does.
You can't do everything correctly in their eyes. You're always going to have a misstep, and that misstep will always be used against you to get rid of you.
Well, because the target is always moving. How are you ever supposed to hit it every single time? Please, may I talk about something cinematography related really quick?
Of course. My favorite parts.
I didn't catch it the first time I watched it because I was just so in the moment. The second time I watched it, I said, what the is that shot? Holy shit. I had to pause it.
What?
So after Lonnie says, he has the conversation with Luthen. Luthen leans in and he says, tell me about the weapon. Then the next shot is Luthen coming down the stairs, walking away from that scene. And it is the most extreme Dutch angle I've ever seen.
What is a Dutch angle?
So Dutch angle is when, most of the time it's a straight on shot. When it's Dutch angled, the vertical lines are not parallel to the sides of the frame. It's canted. So it'll people won't stand upright. It'll look like they're tipped to the side a little bit. It's because the camera is tipped, obviously not the person. If you watch this shot again, Luthen is completely sideways. His body is parallel with the bottom of the frame, and he's walking right to left across the screen, even though he's going downstairs.
Oh, wow.
It's nuts, and it's awesome.
I don't know if I have to go back and look.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that I would have ever picked that out.
It's so interesting. So it's Dutch angle used to be Deutsch angle, it's German expressionism. Yeah. And German expressionism happened after World War I. And it was the first time warfare was urban, it was mechanized, it was on a mass scale. Before that, it was all fought on battlefields, with cannons and rifles and bayonets.
Yeah, right, true, yeah.
Now they had mustard gas, and you would breathe it in and die weeks later. It was just horror. So they started to use film to express that psychological horror.
Oh.
Making canted angles was one way to do. Sometimes they would even build sets, the cabinet of Dr. Caligari is really famous. All the sets are built crooked. Because
that's crazy.
It's to make you feel crazy. It's to make you feel terrified and unsettled. And that's what a Dutch angle is for. It implies disorientation, unsteadiness, ominous foreshadowing, deeply disturbed mental states.
All of the above for this moment.
Luthen finds out about the Death Star and they cut to a shot like that. Immediately.
Yeah, right.
Crazy. He must have been so off center from what he normally is feeling. And then by the time he gets to the bottom of the stairs, he's upright again. He's center in the frame. It's it took that long for him to realize what he had to do.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I have to go back and rewatch.
It's so awesome. And this is the subconscious dialogue of a movie, right? It's this character has just gotten the most frightening news he's probably ever heard. And realized he's probably gonna die, and makes his decision and knows exactly what he has to do after that. It's so cool.
Yes.
And then there's the scene of him and Clea in the stairwell right after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the far establishing shot is jagged steps going up, and it looks like they're in a mouth. It looks like teeth.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then
I need to go back and rewatch all this.
The stairwell.
For all of these parts.
Yeah, I mean, it seems very deliberate in my opinion, but the well looks like a throat, and the stairs look like teeth. It's really cool. It's
okay, I need to see it again.
It's very cool. I loved the imagery. It was really powerful in these moments. And again, if you're just swept up in it, I didn't see it the first time. I was just
I feel kind of annoyed at myself that I missed it.
No.
But I'm such a feeler that I'm honed in on what the people, the emotion, and there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on with this, with Luthen talking to Clea and telling her what she needs to do, which we find out in the flashbacks has always been like their thing, and like when I tell you to move, move.
Yeah, and she gets that little smile on her face when he says it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, I liked
Yeah.
the way they introduced it without explaining it, and then they explained it later. And I was like, oh, that was a really nice way of
It really
putting
was.
those pieces together.
I appreciated everything in this episode, as painful and like intense as it was. Her infiltration of that hospital, so smart. And I actually love how they thought it was multiple people, but no, it's just one Clea.
I know. And I kept thinking how in season 1, Luthen said, build your exit on your way in. And it was like, Clea knows how to do that so well.
she really did. I mean, top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And the little tools she had left in like the craziest hiding spots inside that safe house.
You know, I wrote that it was like a squirrel hiding nuts in a tree. It was just
She really did, like in the foundation, in the walls, in the Smart though.
It was really smart, yeah. She said she actually the actress bought a kid's radio set where you learn to like put a radio together. So that she had like learned some skills about actually putting electronics together to do this part.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool.
It was good. It was
thing.
good.
Yeah.
It was a very pivotal moment because, I mean, that's like her SOS going out.
Yeah.
And they don't, on the other side, they don't know if it is Luthen or who it is.
Yeah, I mean, they thought it could have been a trap even.
Yeah, really.
Oh, man. Well, how did you feel during the shot in the gallery when Dedra shows up while Luthen is there?
Well, I knew the second he took out a knife that was very purposeful. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't going in her because he's too smart to try and kill an ISB agent.
Yeah.
I didn't know that she was gonna present any of this the way that she did. It was very tense and very awkward. And when they finally dropped the pretenses and said, I know exactly who you are. Well, I've known who you are. No. You know, like, I was like, okay, now we're getting to the meat of this. But I think the second that Luthen saw she was at the door, he's like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
And
it was
I guess Lonnie did
because,
warn him, I guess. I kind of forgot about that.
Right. Right. But I mean, like, he went back and destroyed everything. And we don't know that, though, because we only see him pouring that metal acid-looking thing onto the... And it doesn't quite get the whole thing before Dedra shows up. And so, in the background of all of this, I'm like... Please tell me that was destroyed. Please tell me, like, please. Because if he's, like, trying to kill himself, you would think he dotted all of his I's before doing this. So I had to trust that. But, like, the whole thing was so tense. And Dedra really thought she did something. She really thought she did something.
Oh, man. That, for her character to end up this way, because she started kind of with this whole aggressive and tenacious approach, and it worked well for her, and now it's getting her into serious trouble.
Yeah.
She was so good, though. Those scenes, she performed so well.
Well, I have a lot to say about her character when we get to, like, the latter two episodes, excuse me. And Luthen didn't quite finish himself.
I know, the whole fear of, like, maybe he won't die, which is a terrible place to be.
Honestly, I knew that Clea made the decision she has to go in and finish it.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what Luthen would have expected her to do.
He would have wanted it to be her, yeah.
Totally. She has, like, nerves of steel. Like I said last episode, if I had half the nerve that this character had, like, oh my God, I could do anything.
Yeah.
But she just decided, made it happen. In a similar situation, that would be an extremely difficult decision to make.
Yeah.
But I have to believe that Luthen, she knew going in, Luthen would accept no other move from her.
Yes.
Don't try to save him. Don't try to get him out of there. This has to be the way it's done. And honestly, when he does pass, he passes rather peacefully.
Yeah, and quickly.
And, you know, in bed, you know, in a way, he got the last laugh on him because even though he was almost resuscitated back with all of their technology, he still had Clea.
Yeah.
A terrible thing to be put on Clea, but if anyone was going to do it, she could do it. And she did. I mean, oh my God. She covered her tracks and then some. That hospital scene, oh my God. That was better than some full-on action movies that I've seen.
Yes.
In theaters.
This felt more like what's the word? Spycraft. Which they kept saying Andor was going to be an espionage show, and it kind of fell away from that, I feel like, for a while. This felt like it. This is her sneaking in. Those outfits looked like one step up from Narkina 5.
Honest to
uniforms.
God, I thought, but they had what are all the nurses and doctors wearing socks?
And jelly sandals like the dude, like they had jelly shoes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. And I'm just like, what the jelly shoes?
They must not spill fluids ever on those floors if you have a jelly shoe with socks on.
So impractical. Oh my God. But honestly, I kind of felt for the old alien that she was pushing along. That poor creature had no idea what she was in the middle of. I felt so bad for her.
She was cute.
I was like, please don't let anything happen to her.
You know that was, they used that same alien on Niamos. Cassian walks by and it's sitting on the beach there. And in the elevator scene where she's sitting with the alien in the elevator, the Niamos mix is playing in the background.
Oh my God.
I don't know if it's meant to be
icon.
The same character, but it's the same alien at least. So.
She's an icon. Whoever that was, she's an icon. She's over in she's over there playing pinochle with the rest of the old folks.
It's cute.
Meanwhile, the rest of the hospital's getting blown up by ISB and Empire, and she's just like, "Ooh, what was that?" I just feel for her,
little
whoever
feet
she is,
kicking.
I know her feet. Oh my God. Oh, I really want the best for her. Whoever she is, I want the best for her.
This is precious.
Good God.
I feel like the whole sequence where we first start to see the flashbacks of Luthen. At first, like you, I was like, who is this? Because you only see their legs come in and sit down.
Yeah, right.
And then when I realized it was Luthen, I was like, oh, this is going to be really cool. Which is so funny because the last episode I said, we haven't had any flashbacks. And then...
You know what's so funny? It's so funny because I thought of you. And I'm like, oh, here we go. We getting flashbacks. They were perfect, though. If anything in season 2 deserved a flashback, this was it.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah, for sure.
It filled in so much in such a short amount of time. It was just really
yeah,
good.
It was good. So I thought it was interesting about Luthen because he was speaking another language.
Yeah.
So they giving us his backstory, but still keeping part of him a secret from us, which is
which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah, it's really cool. The whole thing, though, really reminded me of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, like what you're hearing in the background and how, you can hear them saying, there's more down in the basement and stuff like that, because I watched it with subtitles. You can hear over his radio, because obviously Tony Gilroy is trying to make a lot of references to World War II. That's what it made me think of.
Yeah.
So I was like, is he Empire? Is he separatist? Is he Republican? What is he?
I couldn't quite tell, honestly. Maybe that's part of the mystery too.
Yeah.
It would make sense if he was on the other side and then converted to being a rebel. Mm-hmm. Because obviously, whatever they were doing, he wanted it to stop, because that's what he kept saying.
Yeah.
And so, make it stop, make it stop, make it stop, make it stop. So,
yeah.
I have to believe that he wasn't comfortable with whatever...
Yeah. It was too horrific to live with, basically.
Yeah. And then the little girl he found ended up kind of propelling him forward out of that and into whatever their future was together.
Yeah, I wonder if he thought of it as a bit of salvation, I don't know, by saving her, he could somehow atone.
Well, he asked to make it stop, and she was his out for that, so...
Yeah.
He could make it stop by helping her and getting the out of there. Whatever there is, his assignment, his rank, whoever he worked for, whatever that was.
Yeah. Yeah, he had another name too. His name, they called him Sergeant Lear. So
Yeah.
which
yeah,
Lear
'cause-
is rail backwards. Luthen rail.
Oh my God.
Isn't that?
I didn't
that's
catch that
cool?
either. How stupid. I mean, how stupid am I? Oh my God.
No.
There's a lot going on in these episodes. I didn't even catch it. I liked it without all these tidbits.
I mean, I didn't even know. Again, I watched it with subtitles. Without that, I
True.
didn't know they even said his name. I heard them say Sergeant something, but I didn't hear what they said. So it took me a little bit of studying to figure it out.
I guess I was more focused on the fact he was a sergeant, because I was like, okay, now I know where he gets his tact from. Like his skill with getting all of this done. He's not just some dude, right? So takes one to know one situation. So and then he says, we're Luthen and Clea now. Mm-hmm. To her.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Wonder if her name is backwards too.
Yeah, well, maybe.
That would be weird. I don't think I could pronounce that.
Clea A Yarlock.
Yellow.
Jeez. I'll just pass.
That's a
on that
very
one.
Star Wars name, honestly. Something
probably.
unpronounceable. I wanted to ask you too. Okay, so that part of the flashback where they're sitting at the nice little cafe and they're
for
every
sure.
flashback, you notice they're dressed slightly nicer and nicer. You know,
Mm-hmm. They're getting money from somewhere.
yeah. Well, he's selling his antiques and
the
making
little
some
antiques.
money. Was that Naboo?
It sure looked like it. I mean, it sure looked like
Right?
it. I mean, I don't know, but my first thought was, are they on Naboo blowing it up? Like,
Right. It looked like that bridge that her Padme's funeral procession.
the funeral
goes over.
bridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is wild if you think about it.
Yeah. That's. I mean,
Like, you're in Palpatine's backyard, literal backyard.
yeah. Yes.
Blowing it up. Maybe you shouldn't be doing that, but I think it's ballsy. And if they were, I couldn't quite tell, but the whole thing struck me as,
Yeah.
oh God, I've seen this before. I've seen this bridge. I've seen this area.
Right. It felt familiar. All the locations they filmed that were so beautiful, like the mountain
really? I
town.
know.
Oh, I think that's in Spain. It was so beautiful. What great locations.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking like, man, this would have been fun to film here.
So I guess what the episode, I guess it just ends after she, well, we haven't even talked about Dedra getting arrested. She gets arrested in this episode.
Yeah. I don't have any notes. So I'm leaning on you again to kind of walk us through the timeline.
Okay.
But how far do we get with her arrest and her, does she get questioned in this episode?
No, it's the beginning of the next episode.
Because I got to say about that.
Let's just jump there, please, because that
Shall
scene
we?
was fucking
Oh,
awesome. Why?
It was.
Why have we not been using Ben Mendelsohn more, please? Guys.
He costs money. He is so good as Krennic. I can't get over how good that scene was. The framing of him standing behind her, how
Yes.
unnerving. And his head wasn't in the shot. You didn't need to see his head in the shot.
Yes.
You already knew. I mean, oh my God, how unnerving the whole thing. And then when he gets down and gets in her face.
Yes.
And whoever writes his like sassy one-liners in return of whatever she's saying, he has a better line to deliver back.
Yes.
And he makes good points. Everything she tried to say, he countered with something and he was right. Like, we can't worry about this and you need to tell me this and we need to cover this right now and all this. It was I was turned on. I'll just say it.
It's hard not to be. It was very, very good.
And his cape was on point, pressed, ready to go.
As usual.
But he was in no mood. He was in no mood.
Yeah.
And she should have known the second he stepped in that room, it was over. Done. I mean, she was done.
She could hear the cameras turn off and she was immediately afraid.
Yeah. And then he stood behind. Do you know that that's a power move? To stand behind someone. And Ben Mendelsohn is not that tall. He's not that tall.
Nobody dwarfed her, and she is really tall.
Yeah, and so the fact that they were able to get like the scaling so that he was imposing and she was diminutive, which her entire life she's been trying to be imposing.
Yes.
And in control and all this stuff. And such faith in the Empire, Dedra. How's that feeling for you? And you fell right into the trap they set.
Perfectly. Yeah. Walked right into it. And I
into it.
I feel like sorry for her on a level because since she was taken as a child, she has been brainwashed her entire life. But granted, she believes it. But, how much can you blame a person when they've been fed this since they were an infant? She didn't stand a chance. But I love how the framing of that cut Krennic off, like basically right above his mouth or his nose. Yeah. It's so dehumanizing. He has no humanity. Absolutely. There's nothing to appeal to there. And I heard that move where he pokes her on the top of the head.
Oh, I loved every single... I'm jumping in my chair. I loved that so much. Please poke me in the head, Krennic, please. I'm begging you. I want aggressively poked in the head like that. I'm sorry. I totally cut you off. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I need to chill. I need to calm myself. Okay.
I've only ever seen you get this excited when Vader dragged a lady down a street.
Amen. We're on a level below this. What is wrong with me? Don't answer that question. It's like my best friend Derek says, the bad guys are more interesting, and I have to agree. Yeah. I have to agree.
I mean, they definitely don't think they're bad guys, and that's what adds to the whole...
I know. I love everything. So what were you going to say? I'm so sorry. The poking, the head.
He improv'd it. It was not in the script. That's Ben Mendelsohn.
That's even hotter.
Leanne needs someone to throw a bucket of cold water on her right now.
What did Deidre think? Imagine being Denise and being like, what the f*** is he doing?
Yeah, her reaction is genuine. She was just terrified. I wanted to know too if when he grabs her by the head, if that was also improv, because it's when Krennic is in your personal space, it's very frightening, but also
it's very frightening,
awesome to watch it. If it's not real life, if it's real life, it would be super upsetting.
Correct. Yeah, totally. Very, very, very beside ourselves and panic attacky. But what I think is so funny about all this is how little he is on the grand totem pole, and we see it in Rogue One. Yes. He literally gets choked by Vader.
Yes, I think it was Star Wars Explained did a whole picture of there's always a bigger fish, and it was Dedra all the way up to Emperor, and everyone on this list thinks they're the top dog, and there's always
that's their mistake.
Yeah.
and the thing is the Empire gives you just enough leash, right?
Yeah,
just enough leash to hang yourself with, and that's what every single one of these have done.
Yep.
With that goes to Partagaz too.
Yep.
No one is safe.
I know that whole exchange with Partagaz and Krennic is very interesting.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
I know. It's so good. I love it. And then just one more thing. When Dedra walks, Krennic leaves her, right? Mm-hmm. How her hair didn't just go poof after the nerves and her hair just cut, in a cartoon, you lose all the hairpins and your hair just puffs out. Mm-hmm. That's what I would have. So he goes out and he makes a comment or two to whoever's out in the hallway and stuff.
Yes.
And then they just leave her like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Horrible. I love it.
You can see him. He's being told that Luthen is dead.
Yeah.
And he gets this look mother.
I know. Face. One more thing on the list.
Yep. It's so good. Oh my God. I really feel like the whole time watching all of these 3 episodes, I kept thinking, this is what I've been waiting for. These dynamics, this kind of writing.
Yeah.
I think it should have been in much more than 3 episodes.
Well, it should have been in the last set of 3.
Yes.
Whether it was somewhere in the middle, maybe to start, just introduce it.
Ease it in a little more. And then we could have, it was the most enjoyable parts, or the parts that are really reminiscent. I mean, to me, some of the most enjoyable parts are reminiscent of Rogue One.
100%.
It's rewarding to an audience that's already, in love with that piece of work. So that's why I was like really loving this. We're starting to see Krennic is now under pressure because his pilot, his Edu pilot, has already defected to Saw. The rebellion doesn't know it yet, but they're about to learn about it, right? Because that's what Tivik is going to tell Cassian. And so Krennic is like desperately trying to scramble to close the leak. And that's why he's suddenly at the ISB headquarters, which has been really nice to all of us. Like, we think it's fancy. Krennic thinks it's a pile of garbage there.
Well, half of them are dead, or all of them have somehow found their way out, whether they're in prison or they're dead or they've been shifted somewhere else. Like, oh my God.
And the one guy I thought was gonna die is the only one who lived. The guy who's like balding who told Partagaz that they're waiting for you. He's the one. I was like, after the last episode with Mon Mothma and he's on the radio and she gets away. I was like, well, that guy's gonna die, and he's still there.
He's the one that
he's the Piet of this.
He really is. He is actually. That is the best analogy, truly.
Oh my God.
But does Partagaz go in this episode, or is it the third episode?
It's a good question.
The third of these three.
I think it's the third. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll wait.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it's a great. All the scenes with him are I delight in them because he's such a good actor.
Truly.
Okay, so then Clea goes back to the safe house. She's back at the safe house. She got her little gadgets. She makes her radio and she starts radioing out, and we assume it's like an SOS signal. And then we cut to Yavin.
Right.
And
the card game.
Yeah, like it looks like they described it as like a frat house where Melshi and K2 and Cassian are all living in this jungle villa.
Here's the thing. What a brilliant way to just integrate K2 into like just every day. He's slumped in that giant body of his.
His knees
hunched over that table.
Up over the table.
Up to his elbows, and he's holding these cards, and he's doing the droid thing with the statistics and the probabilities and this, that, and the other thing.
Oh
and the eyeballs, eyes, and it's so comical to me. I remembered why he might be my favorite droid.
Yeah.
Because it's just brilliant how he went from this. Well, and we see his power in this episode.
It's awesome. It's so great.
Like, holy. So we okay. But I loved the bro scene. Yeah. K2's just trying to figure out human emotion, trying to figure out cards. There's some sassy back talk. It was very cute. It was cute to see them kind of at ease for once.
It's the first time in timeline, basically, that you see Cassian laughing.
It'll be the last time we see him laugh as well. Right up until
except when Kay slaps him in the face. Then he laughs there.
That's right. Well,
that's really just Diego laughing, but that's okay. I like that they left it in.
Correct. Yeah. Wait, that was an improv too, right?
It was, yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And they said that Diego laughing was actually him breaking character, but they liked it enough to leave it in. So
yeah.
I think I know. I saw somebody posted on Tumblr, and I thought this was very funny. That Bix breaks up with Cassian, and he looks healthier and happier than he's ever looked before.
I mean,
I'm like,
some relationships aren't good for you.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. Do you think they de-aged him a little bit for these episodes? He looked very beautiful.
I can never tell. Listen, I can never tell because they got the hair and everything. This is the seamless transition to Rogue One, so it's got to look like his younger. He was, how many years ago was that? Like almost 10?
Yeah, it was.
Close to?
It was 2016, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like everyone ages, so I'm sure they had to like smooth it out a little bit, but I am the worst person to ask when it comes to like the trick of of de-aging.
It's kind of funny.
I'm not good at...
Because I don't think they have been de-aging him the whole show. And then to do it in these last few episodes where he's actually older than he was in the earlier episodes, but de-age him so he looks like he's in Rogue One. I was like, this is getting a little out of hand.
I didn't really notice it that much. I noticed that his hair was different. But at the same time, I thought he looked super young when he was the fashion designer.
Yeah.
When he was posing as the fashion. So, like, it really depends.
He looked very, very beautiful. I was here for it.
We know you're here for it. I mean, Diego Luna is not an unfortunate looking individual by any means.
What a way to put that.
Well, what I'm trying to say is he's very handsome. So it'd be hard for them to that up. Like,
yeah, I mean, they're working
and
with
they didn't.
A really good palette to work with. Yeah, I don't know. He looked really good. I don't know. He looked really...
Look at your face.
I know. I feel like I'm getting really
You're like
hot.
starry-eyed.
I feel very warm.
These are supposed to be the depressing episodes.
Is it hot in here? I'm hot.
Do I have to come over there and aggressively poke you in the head?
Now I need a cold bucket of water thrown on me. I'm overheating.
Jesus. Oh, God. Thank you all for just bearing with us.
What is Star Wars if not something beautiful to look at? So
listen, I know there's Krennic fans out there. In fact, my friend Dan, he's a Ben Mendelsohn fan. So I don't want to hear it. I'm not crazy. Diane, where are you, Diane? I know you out there.
Yeah. Yep.
Listen, we're all here for the Krennic business. So
yes, there's not enough Krennic, honestly. There was not enough Krennic. There was not enough K2. There should have been at least 3 more episodes of both those characters.
But honest to God, the K2 moments we got were fantastic. I loved when he just... It's so funny because of the way that droid is shaped. It is an unfortunate shape for a droid. They're top heavy, they're lanky, they're hunched. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they kind of stomp forward, you know, with like their arms don't move, so they look like Frankenstein, and they're, you know.
But they're like deceptively agile. You think it's going to be lumbering, but it's really strong and terrifying.
Very. And that, I for a second I thought, we know they're going to get out of that safe house when Diego. See what happened now when Cassian and his boy are there. Trying to save Clay. See, I'm all distracted now. I can't remember names, numbers, whatever.
All it takes is Krennic's cape, and Leanne can't remember anything.
Cassian's hair.
Cassian's hair and facial hair and facial structure and jackets. His jackets are the best thing I've ever seen.
These are all the characters of Star Wars that are not recognized. Not enough.
The jackets,
the hair, the
and
jacket, the cloaks. Yeah.
It's true.
Anyway.
You know, we did an episode all about Obi-Wan Kenobi's hair. We should do an episode about all the other great hair.
No, what we should do is about all the capes in Star Wars. Because there are many good capes out there.
It's true. It's true. Can we do
And we
both?
can do hair.
Thank you.
Why not? Top to bottom, hair down to the cloak. Jesus.
Oh, we have derailed ourselves. Oh my God, my face is so red. I'm so warm. All right, let's get back on track here.
Where are we? Were we in the safe house?
Yeah, I think so. No, yeah, so on Yavin. There we go. We're on Yavin. They got the message from Clea. And then they're going to go rescue her.
Well, Will got it.
Yes.
And I think it was nice that Will kept the radio on.
Yeah.
Like, he kept the signal open. Like, these little pieces of Luthen are still working together, even though it's a much larger entity now.
Yes, and it's against the rules for them to have outside radios, and he still kept it.
Oh, well.
So. Then there's the scene with Partagaz, Krennic, and Heert. H-E-E-R-T, however you say that guy's name.
Yeah, it's a difficult name. Mm-hmm.
Heert. I don't know. But that was an interesting scene. Ben Mendelsohn was so good in that scene.
So good.
Oh my gosh. And he said something about the ever lengthening ISB death march.
Yes, that was a really good way to phrase that.
Yeah.
Honest to God.
And Partagas just gets this look on his face like, I might be on that march myself.
Yeah, he was. Yep.
Oh my God.
I feel like he's been around longer. Mm-hmm. And you could see the fear in his eyes when the takedown of the safe house goes wrong and he knows it.
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like even in the very first episode with Krennic, you kind of see we're in dangerous territory here. Mm-hmm. And as they start to go deeper and deeper into these covert operations that are actually for the Death Star, that it's more and more likely that all this shit is going to fall apart and they're going to get eaten up by the machine. And I feel like Partagas kind of had a sense that was coming.
Yeah, I mean, he should have, because it seems like he's been around longer. He's in he talks to Admiral Yularen.
Yeah.
He talks to Yularen, so he's on a level
and the Emperor too.
And the Emperor, so like he's kind of up there, and he should know, and that's why he knew enough to just kind of end it himself, because what they were about to do to him.
Yeah.
At least what's his name gave him the space to do it, and I actually thought. That's in another episode, isn't it? I'm jumping ahead.
It is, but yeah, it's like he respected Partagas enough to give him that moment to...
He turned his back, faced the stormtroopers, and I like how it happened, and the stormtroopers raised their guns, and he just raised his hand and said, nope,
yeah,
it's fine.
Give it a minute.
Like, he knew, everyone knew it was unspoken, and just let it happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and, it's kind of interesting how many deaths in this show are off-screen, which I think is why Luthen and Cyril are, like, so impactful, because they're kind of the only ones that you see. Even Brasso, you don't see it.
No.
So, yeah.
Well, they did hide the blood, because we always say, like, they just can't take blood on Star Wars. But Luthen, I didn't actually know if he did, like, where he cut himself.
Yeah.
Or stabbed himself or whatever he did. Like, it's not really visible or noticeable, especially on the table.
Yeah.
I was looking at his throat. That's what he probably should have done.
That's what I know. You and I are such space twins. Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy? Like,
I had the same. I was like, he would have died faster if he cut his femoral artery in his leg.
I just think that maybe it was too much for Star Wars.
Yes, I think so. I was having this exact thought process earlier today. Yeah.
There we go.
I was like,
okay.
They had to make it, something where there wasn't gallons of blood all over.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
because
Luthen is smart enough, I think, to have done that. But it's Star Wars, so
I understood that. I understood what was going on, but
plus it created all this tension and an excuse for Clea to go after him, and
it gave us Clea, which I am always here for, and I'm actually glad she made it.
I am too.
But we can talk about that. We'll talk about that. Sorry.
Okay, so Cassian, Melshi, and Kay are now getting ready, and they're going to go see who this emergency signal's from. They don't know it's from Clea, but it's kind of interesting because it is a bit of a throwback to Rogue One. When they get on the ship, they don't have permission to take off, and you could hear in the background someone saying, you're not authorized to take this ship, and that they need to stand down, and it's Tony Gilroy is the voice over the radio.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it's Tony Gilroy in Rogue One who says, you're not authorized. Rogue One, there is no Rogue One. So he's playing the same character.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, shit. I didn't notice that. Awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was cute. But can I just have a little gripe for a second?
I have a lot of gripes. We just haven't gotten to them yet.
I know. I actually do too. I have quite a lot. Something about this timeline is really frustrating. And like how Draven is that Cassian keeps breaking protocol basically and like going against the rules. I have two complaints about this. First of all, in Rogue One, it's implied that when Cassian decides to not shoot Galen and when he decides to like go with Jyn, he's basically going AWOL with Jyn. That's a big decision for him to make because he is someone who follows the rules.
Right.
So they've had him just breaking all the rules in Andor and not taking anything about the rebellion seriously. And it's completely... out of character for who he is in Rogue One, which is now literally like 24 hours away from this stuff that's happening.
Correct.
So I find that to be really incongruous writing, and it's really frustrating. Also, they keep saying, we have these rules in place because we're barely established as the rebellion and blah, blah, blah. A New Hope is taking place in about like 3 days from now.
That's a very good point.
And like
that's
by
a really
then,
good point.
They gave the impression that they were established. You know?
This is true.
They had protocol enough in place to like have battle plans when they get attacked by the Death Star, and to leave and go find a new battle or a new base on Hoth, you know? Mm-hmm. I know the rebellion is still young, but it should be way more established than what they're implying here. And I find that really irritating because it's like, that was canon and that's been established since 1970 something. Like,
this is correct.
Yeah, I don't know. I found that kind of annoying.
The timeline really did kind of it up for me. Mm-hmm. You know, I had a lot of moments where I just scratched my head and I thought we already did this or had this or it was established or something.
Yeah.
You know, they're just little things that it didn't quite line up. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you on that.
They're like important. Most of the time I can be like, yeah, it's fine. But like this like tied into all the rest of the original trilogy. So I feel like their job should have been to not change the perspective of Rogue One, but to like honor what was there.
Yeah, you have a round table full of figureheads that includes Bail Organa, and you're not quite the rebellion yet. I think you're a rebellion.
Right, exactly.
You have a table of people that you're answering to. That's not just some faction setting up in the woods.
Right, and you have a chain of command. And like,
yes,
Melchi's group was good enough to go into Wabani and take Jyn out.
Yes.
So they're not just a bunch of like new recruits with their heads up their ass.
Exactly.
They would have been
that was what we got in the first set of episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
So it would be cool to see like the progression from inside like internal fighting in the young rebellion to we're now established. We have maybe, I mean, I guess there is some progression if you look at it that way, but to keep saying that, you know, it's still so young. I mean, Leia is a week away at this 3 days. How many days?
Yeah,
I don't know. I can't remember. Like
days away because she's at the end of Rogue
This
One.
is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that they kind of messed the timeline up for sure. It's not matching up
in important ways.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's why I mention it. It's not petty. I think it was like a mistake. But
I do too.
Anyway, Thank you for letting me gripe on that. So
I'm with you on that one. I am.
So that's when they go back to Coruscant and they go to the safe house. I feel like all the stuff that happens here and like the interactions with Kay just really fed my soul.
It did. It really did. It was everything that I had hoped for. If you see the beginning of Cassian and Kay's relationship, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
You can see where I kept thinking of this when Kay is in Rogue One and he tells them to go and he does the final like shutdown and the sparks are flying and he dies essentially.
Yeah.
Why there was trust there between him and Cassian.
Yeah.
Like always.
Yeah.
And that timeline works because they had a whole year to establish that. He's obviously quite comfortable with Cassian and his friends. Well, I mean, comfortable enough to argue over cards, but like also comfortable enough to see that there's something amiss, know that Cassian is in there, and then to make a plan and go in.
Yeah.
And like quote unquote save the day. But
yeah,
he took action where a lot of like human characters might not have, given the situation. So
they clearly must have like an established, like enough of an understanding of each other.
Yes.
See,
yes.
And like, wouldn't that have been nice to get a whole nother episode block where we see that happening?
Yeah.
Like, I would have liked that.
For sure.
The part where he says he was at Coruscant once, he was in a parade.
During the parade?
That was possibly my favorite line, except when he says, "I don't like it here." Oh, nothing has ever been more relatable than Kay saying, I don't like it here.
Totally. I was in a parade once, like, and I was wondering, was he there to kill people? Like, was he there to, like, manhandle and keep order? So it wasn't a jolly parade. Was he there to, like, establish order? Like,
Probably. Or it was like one of those like Hitler parades where they like show off all their
look at how
weapons.
much...
Yeah. 200 KX units marching down the street.
Oh my God.
But even when he was like,
see it.
when he's like, I don't like it here, and then they show him sitting in the chair, and he just like flops back in the chair.
He does. That was so relatable. And then when the power like flickers and goes out, and he goes, "Oh no, oh no," and there was a part of me that's like, would a droid actually have that much personality to say that and understand? But he would.
Yeah, he would. Mm-hmm. I think we've been missing. We needed a break from the tension.
Yeah.
And Kay is it, 100%.
But it's not hokey comedic relief.
No.
It's actually part of his makeup.
Yes. Only Alan could have portrayed it perfectly.
Oh, God, it's so good. It's so good.
Thank God. I'm so glad they brought Kay back, because we needed it.
We did, and he really showed up. I mean, I'm glad Clea made it out and she got to go back. And I really thought it was interesting that she's there. Cassian says to her, don't you want to see what you helped create?
Yeah.
Now, I totally get she's loyal to this side and not what has grown. And like, if you leave this, then you're leaving it for good and you're becoming something like, the separation between what she's always known and then what is brand new. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I totally get. But then I do appreciate the fact that like in the final shots, she does seem to smile and appreciate and like, if in my head, she was saying like, if Luthen only knew.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he did, but he stayed behind for a reason. Mon was his extension.
I know she seemed so lost after.
I get it though. For so long she was in one role. That's what she did. She was excellent at it, and she just lost the person who was always with her. Yeah. Helping her and being a part of what they were doing and what they believed in so strongly. And now she's kind of adrift. Mm-hmm. And she's injured, which makes everything worse. And amongst a bunch of strangers, who can she trust? Who can she not trust? Like, to her, I would feel a little bit like cornered.
Yeah.
And overwhelmed. I totally understood all of those emotions. She displayed them. She like portrayed that whole thing flawlessly.
So let's move on to the last episode then. Like, this is...
Yeah, because my God.
That whole sequence of them facing off with those ISB soldiers in the I don't even know. It was the safe house. But they went to the wrong unit and the people were in a really nice looking condo. I'm like, why is Luthen's condo so looking? Everyone else there seems to be living a nice life. What the does that place look like for? It looked like an abandoned tenement and the next floor up.
It did. It really did. It was hiding in the walls. Radio parts.
Can you imagine hearing people banging on the walls like that? You would have heard everything Clea was doing.
City life.
I know. Seriously, I don't miss it. My God.
Then again, they were concrete walls. Maybe they didn't hear anything.
Yeah, or maybe they have some sort of, space noise canceling wall. Oh my God. So they rescue Clea, they bring her back, and then we see Cassian more like Cassian in Rogue One when he has to meet with the counselors.
It was great. It was totally great. When he speaks for Luthen, basically, like, I know him.
Yeah.
I know the good and the bad, and I still chose to follow him. Like, that was good.
It was such a good speech. And it points out, like, Cassian, like, never speaks in this show.
Well, but...
It's weird, though. Like, I was telling Rebecca, she and I were talking about this, and I was like, I feel like we know Clea better and Mon Mothma better. I know Luthen better. we watched 24 episodes about Cassian Andor, and I feel like I don't know anything more about him. Like, I feel like there's more characters showing in Rogue One, like little, and it's Diego's performance. It's not even like, explanation through his dialogue, although there is that. He is warm in a way that he's not always in Andor, and he's actually got like a smirk or like a laugh or a sense of humor, and that's missing in Andor. We get a sense of his internal struggle, like when he's thinking about shooting Galen, you can see him realizing that he can't do it. I feel like we don't see that. We don't get a lot of Cassian's internal monologue in this show, and the whole show is supposed to be about how he became who he is. How's this possible? How is it possible, Leanne? How can I love and hate something so much? How can it be like so good and so right and so far off the mark at the same time? I don't even know how it's possible. This scene where he's talking to the council.
I had a problem with this scene, though.
I did too.
You did? Oh,
I did. Like, I really loved Diego's performance. I thought what he said was cool. I thought the interaction with Draven was very telling, because like Draven, I think, really likes Cassian, but he has to maintain chain of command. So he's trying to like buffer,
Yep.
So when Cassian is like, "Are you serious?" to that senator,
and
he's like,
he gives him the
he's like,
don't
calm.
do it. No.
What is your gripe though? I bet we have the same one.
Bail. Yeah.
We're not the only ones with this complaint. Yeah.
Is that so? And it's not the performance of the individual, it's the character deviation that it didn't sit right with me.
Yes.
It didn't sit right with me, and I'm not sure why they did this. The argumentative tone. Bale always heard out everyone and always heard out two sides and considered everything, every angle. That's what made Bale Bale.
Yeah. Just watch the Kenobi series, the way he's so
that's what I'm
diplomatic
saying.
and sweet with his own daughter. Like,
you had the argumentative other people in the circle,
which are so f***ing exhausting. Those people, my God.
Truly, I mean, now I understand if you get told news of a Death Star, it's gonna take some time. I mean, didn't somebody say that they need time?
And evidence, they need to verify.
Yeah. I totally get that. Because, again, you don't know sources, how it's manipulated, the information itself, whether it came from Luthen or not. You must always verify before you go making big changes. Totally.
Yeah.
That my problem is just with how aggressive Bale's character was with this. I felt it was not in character.
I felt the same. It felt like you haven't read the book Wild Space, have you?
I haven't. Should I?
Yes.
Okay. Noted.
Yes, you should. And maybe if you don't want to read it, listen to the audiobook. But it is
okay.
It's the kind of one where it's like you love and hate it. Like, it's so
I see.
ridiculous. I can't believe some of the shit that happens in it. That's why I was like enjoying it.
Okay.
Bale is like this though the whole time.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, and everyone has said in Wild Space he feels super out of character. He's fighting with Obi-Wan constantly.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's very
right.
exhausting. And it's nothing like how he is in Clone Wars or in any of the other portrayals of Bale. So I felt the same. I was like, why is he being such a stick in the mud? And he's not in charge. Mon Mothma was here first, man. Like,
it's true. However, it doesn't really line up with how he acts in Rogue One, where he's so ready to go. What changes in 3 or 4 days?
Yeah, I don't know.
I could see maybe in a year. Let's just take devil's advocate route and say, like, he's going through something. Couldn't imagine what. I mean, but could be anything. But maybe in a year he warms up to whatever the I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really struggling to find even something salvageable here, but
Yeah, he kind of was like pontificating. He's like walking around like he was giving a speech at the Senate. This is not the place to do this.
You can take the senator out of the Senate, but you can't take the Senate out of the senator.
It's true. It's true.
Can we talk about Mon's hair?
Poor girl. She's got jungle hair now.
We knew it was coming. We knew that haircut, that style was coming. Mm-hmm. She needs a good blowout and some humidity restriction in some kind of spray, anti-humidity spray in her hair.
How are all of these women, they're frizz-free? How? My hair would look like a cotton puff if I was living in that jungle.
I don't know. Good genes. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. They all got lucky. Maybe there's something in Star Wars where you can put it on your hair and it repels humidity. But
listen to us. We keep making excuses for this shit.
Yeah.
I want to. Can I go back to Bail one more second? Because he does go back to Cassian's hut.
Yeah.
I thought that was more in character.
Yes, I did too. That was more diplomatic.
And warm, and may the force be with you, and it was very Bail, right?
Yeah.
So I had an internal struggle the entire episode, and I'm just gonna let it go because I have much larger problems with other parts of this episode than Bail. But it's nice to know there are other people that felt the same way, including yourself.
Oh yeah, right away I was like, this feels weird. Well, I've always had like a headcanon that Mon Mothma and Draven really like Cassian a lot, and it was kind of nice to see that they do. Of course, Mon Mothma was gonna trust Cassian's word after what he did for her. So,
amen.
Yeah,
as she should, as should everyone. In fact,
yeah, I'm glad to see that like there were advocates in the room, even though Bill and everybody else, all the other senators, were being so annoying.
I like how Cassian was like, permission to go to the whatever room. You know, and he was like real sarcastic about it, but Mon's like, granted, before anyone else could speak.
I know.
I was like, there we go, girl, yes.
That's awesome. I loved that too. That was great.
Yep. She has the final say in this boardroom.
Seriously, she's the one who makes it all the way to Return of the Jedi, so let's remember.
Give her the space.
Yeah, exactly. So that everything kind of like slows down now. Tony Gilroy described it as, quote, delivering the pizza, which I thought was really annoying.
What the f***?
It's like to just give everybody what they wanted at the end and then move into Rogue One. And
he didn't do that, though.
I know.
That did not happen.
I know.
So it's not the pizza I ordered,
My
Tony.
pizza was not delivered, Tony.
It was undercooked, in fact. And incorrect.
Yeah, and then it had additional toppings that I didn't ask for.
Yeah, no, none of us ordered this. Anyway.
Weird pizza analogies coming out of
here. Thanks, Tony.
I did like the scene with Cassian and Vel where they finally acknowledged like their shared history. They toasted.
Oh, they toasted everyone. Yeah, I thought that was very nice. Nice way to wrap that up.
And why does it always take someone else to mention Marva? Why does Cassian never mention Marva or Clem? Why? Or B?
I think he's just one of those closed books where, don't acknowledge the pain and it won't be there. You know, he's like one of those. That's how I gathered it anyway.
I'm very glad that somebody mentioned Marva because she gave a speech that inspired insurrection. Like,
absolutely,
she deserves a mention.
Brasso, our boy, hit somebody over the head with her brick, and I will never forget it.
That was one of the best scenes in all of Andor.
Amazing. I love you, Brasso, forever and always.
Then there's that really cool moment where they show Clea in the hospital and she decides to get up and she's like pulling the needles out and ripping the bandages off. And then they start playing Nemec's Manifesto.
Yes. I thought that was a good callback.
Yes. And what he was saying was very much, applied to Clea. And then they cut to Partagaz. And I'm like, is Partagaz listening to it? And he was. Oh. And I have to say, I called this a long time ago. I was so excited.
You did.
I thought I mentioned this to you. I thought I had texted you when I had this thought, right? That when Tarkin says in Rogue One, we need a statement, not a manifesto. I was like,
yes.
I know this is like retconning, but maybe it's because Nimic's manifesto got out there, and
I think so.
We got proof. So. We proved now because Partagaz was actually listening to it right before he killed himself.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy how that, like, Nimic is still a part of this, even though it was such an unfortunate loss in last season.
And it makes me wonder, like, Cassian was the one who had it. He must have been the one who got it out there somehow. Because Nimic was still writing it. He hadn't finished it when he died. So, it was so cool. And then I loved when Partagaz asked the other officer, who do you think it is? Like, who do you think, like, is speaking? Who wrote this? And they don't...
Right.
He doesn't even... He just moves on and doesn't answer the question.
That's it. Yeah. Ignore it and it'll go away.
It was I thought that was a really cool scene. And then we've talked about it a little bit already, how Partagaz decides to take his own life there instead of... I wonder who they were going to bring him down to see.
Oh, I'm positive it was someone towards the top. He's too old for this shit. He literally said without saying, I'm too old for this.
Yeah.
Let me just get this little gun out. Like, I'm too old.
Well, because they would have made an example of him, I'm sure.
And, for sure. His name would have been tarnished forever, and who knows what happens to these bodies.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of, like, cross-cutting. I guess then they go back to Cassian, and Vel is leaving, and she tells him to reach out to Bix, and he says he doesn't want to.
Yeah, I hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah, we have lots to talk about here.
Well, we're getting to it.
Somebody posted that, like, Cassian, I've seen this a lot, actually. Cassian and Bix had true love. And
Is that so?
As a divorcee, I have a different take on that.
Yes.
I had a partner leave me in a very similar way to how Bix left Cassian. And you can come to peace with it, but you don't want to see them again.
Nope. No, they made their choice. That's it.
Yeah.
Gotta go. Gotta move on.
Whatever their motivation is, it doesn't mean that you're ever going to really be comfortable seeing them again.
No, it's true.
So I was kind of glad that he was like, she says she does, like, she's safe where she is. She wouldn't be safe with me. Like, why?
Well, I'm glad he made it about her safety and not about emotion, because that's gone. So he had to turn it into something.
Yeah.
Because Vel is her friend, and I'm sure they talk, and, well, it's obvious they talk, but yeah, no thanks. I'm glad Cassian was strong on that front.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of like hoping they wouldn't mention Bix in this episode, and then they put it here, and then they put it later as Vel gets to. Yeah. And I was like, God.
Yeah. I was hoping that was it. I was hoping that would be it.
I was too. We almost made it to the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I wondered too, why did they suddenly put another dream of Cassian's sister in there?
I have to say it. I think it's Clea. I don't care what anyone says. I put the things together the way I did, and I'm like, I do wonder if she's his sister, and Luthen knew all along and didn't say anything, and it's just the way it is. And whether or not actresses or actors or writers, producers say otherwise, I want to go forward thinking that Cassian was with his sister all along and saved her.
Oh, wouldn't that be so poetic? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like Luthen to not tell them.
Yes, it is. And that actually would add so much meaning when Clea opens the door and she says, of course it would be you.
Exactly. Yes. So there's a little too much symbology for me to ignore it. Ignore the possibility.
The thing that is, she speaks basic when he finds her, and obviously they didn't speak basic on Kenari, but that doesn't mean that she couldn't have been found by somebody else.
Right, it's true.
You know, like, after Cassian leaves Kenari, there's no telling. I mean, Marva said that basically Republic ships are landing here. We have to go. So it's very possible that his sister was taken somewhere
they were all
else.
speaking basic. But, I mean, the fact that they threw in the flashback scene, like, kind of confirmed it for me, because there was no reason for it otherwise.
Yeah, it was And the only other person who gets flashbacks is Cassian. It's Cassian and
Right.
Clea. Clea's
Yeah.
childhood, Cassian's childhood.
Seems like, and I read the argument that it's a different child actor for young
Yeah.
Clea. Who cares? She grew up a little bit. Obviously, she's not going to be the little kid
Yeah,
that
there
was
were
on
different.
Kenari.
There were different child actors for Cassian. There was at least two
Like-
that I could remember. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like, come on. That's not an indication
Yeah.
otherwise. I would like to just think that Luthen knew. Luthen had his ways, and that's that.
yeah. I think it's a very interesting take, and it feels very poetic. I think.
Well, I think it's also left up to us as the viewers. They didn't come to a solid conclusion.
Yeah,
And so maybe it is just up to us to decide for ourselves. And I'm deciding that they were brother and sister. It fits enough.
yeah. It's great, and the scenes that they had together were very, very interesting. Like when she,
Yeah.
when she was making him the ID to get into Mon Mothma's speech. Like their exchange there was really, really cool.
Well, how often have we seen siblings torn apart across a galaxy and come together? It's not new.
That's true, especially in
In Star Wars.
That would be
In all
really,
of Star Wars.
That it's what George Lucas says, that it's like poetry. It's supposed to reflect over and over in the generations, and that's why it's kind of rewarding for the audience. Yeah, I think that would be great. I wonder if they'll ever confirm it, but probably not, because they left it open on purpose, I think.
And I'm fine with that. That means I get to have my
Yeah.
cake and eat it too in this
Right?
regard.
God, sometimes we just don't want the answers. Like, just leave it a mystery, guys.
Yes.
Well, I thought that was interesting to throw it in there last second, because they haven't really. It was like one of the only internal experiences we see with Cassian. Again,
Yeah.
like what I was saying earlier, we don't really get his internal monologue, but we're seeing that he still does think about his sister.
Yes. And not Bix. I mean,
Yeah.
not that he's thinking of his sister in the same manner that he would Bix, but if he's having dreams, it's of his family.
Yeah, I think it was cool too when they cut to him, like he has the conversation with Bale, and then he gears up, right? And he like
That's it. And we're seeing, yeah,
gets the belt on, gets the holster, the jacket, and it's just like
everything we know.
it's Batman. He's getting ready to go on patrol.
This is it. This is it though. Like,
Yeah.
after this, everything changes and we know it. And I thought it was I love scenes where the main character's walking and it's kind of slow-mo and there's things happening and we're experiencing it, as it's happening, like the characters experience. I just love like that. I'm a sucker for it every time.
It's so great. Oh my god. But he watered his plants before he
I know.
left.
I got the sentiment from it. In my opinion, all of these relationships have been sprouting. Luthen watered them, and now the rebellion has grown, and now Cassian's off to. I mean, it's just like what you give attention to and take care of grows.
Yeah, and there's this quote from Audrey Hepburn. Like, there's an idea that plants indicate hope. And she said, to plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly it. Yes.
You like water and tend this plant or a seed that you don't even see. And then in the future, it grows into something from your care and your attention.
Nice. Yes.
So I think that like that whole sentiment of hope and like it's there. We didn't need the extra.
Right, but I mean, there's so much pain.
Yeah.
I need to be reminded of it.
Yeah. Well, and then while Cassie's doing his walk, he walks by all these people, right? And like Melshi is on a morning run. Did you notice all the guys that he's leading are the ones that go with Jin and Cassie into Scarif?
Oh yeah, I did. I did though.
And
Yeah.
it's like it's all these great little shots. Like, what about the shot of Perrin?
Oh, I didn't need to see him, but he's a piece of shit.
How funny was it? Like, he's wasted in a car with his daughter's mother-in-law? Like, what the
Yep. Yeah. I mean, some people move on in different ways, and some people drink themselves into a car with their daughter's mother-in-law.
I thought it was very interesting. They cut to Perrin, then they cut to Dedra in Narkina prison.
Yes, yes. And I have things to say about this, if I may.
Please, by all means.
For those who understand this reference, she is the Cersei Lannister of Star Wars, of Andor. And I don't think it was a fitting end for her. It wasn't good enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want her to sit in jail. I don't want her to sit in Narkina or any version of that. Perhaps that is the torment she deserves, but I want an epic send-off for an epic character. It's not enough that she's been reduced to this shell of I don't even know. It just wasn't enough for me.
Yeah. Was
her performance good? Yes. Her breaking down in that cell, fantastic. Not good enough for me. She was so good and so terrible and so everything that's right with the Empire and wrong with the world. She needed a more epic send-off, but perhaps, and when you're just that good at being bad, this is it. Yeah. There is no proper send-off. I'm not sure.
Well, maybe death would have been too easy for her.
I understand that's what they went for, but someone like that never learns.
No, and like if she were to be released at some point, she would not be remorseful or like rehabilitated.
There's no going back for someone like that. You know she's going to schmooze her way or try to within that area to get more privileges or get her sentence eased or something. Maybe not. I don't know. It's left up to us to wonder what happens to her, but maybe the proper send-off is her living long enough to see the end of the Empire and the Death Star blown up, because I'm sure whatever happens, she sees it.
Yeah, I wonder if they would find out what happens. Well, maybe that's how they built the second Death Star, actually. It's like, once they blow up the Death Star, then what are they making at Narkina? It's like, oh yeah, they made another Death Star.
So she's still kind of working for the same people she always has. She's just been reduced to a prisoner, and I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fitting enough.
Yeah, Denise could have. She was so good. She could have portrayed all sorts of amazing scenes.
Well, they only gave her like a half minute, if that, of scene where I would have preferred her to like go nuts and be in a straitjacket and like shaking and stuff. That would have been cool. Where she just completely loses her mind. Yeah, I don't know.
It might happen. It's just not going to happen.
It might
on
happen.
Screen.
Yeah, it's just implied. Perhaps that's it. That's the thing about the Empire. They're always left with nothing in the end, and that includes a soul.
Yeah, it's true. Well, they showed Saw on Jeddah. And he's looking out the window, seeing a Star Destroyer over Jeddah City. So the thing that's really cool is they're playing the past to present suite from season 1 over all of this. So like past and present, like.
Well, that's appropriate.
Yeah, and they cut to Krennic watching the Death Star finish right as Cassian is about to get on his ship. So it's like they end it there. And then...
Well, we've seen that shot of Krennic before, where he's standing there longingly looking out at his... what he deems
beloved.
his perfect other half.
Well, then Cassian gets to the ship and flies away, and that was almost the ending. Until the last scene, which you and I have kind of talked about a little bit.
Yeah, because we couldn't help it. Usually, Lauren and I don't talk about stuff prior to this. This is our raw reaction. Except for this part, because I just had to know what she thought, because I hated the final shot. I don't give a fuck about any of this. The show's name is Andor. You end with a shot of Cassian Andor. I don't want to see Bix. I don't want to see his child. If it's his child, we don't really know. We can assume, but we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, be for real.
It's his.
I get that's why she left. It's probably his. I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
I can't either.
What do you? Okay.
No, me. I hate it. I hated it. I think.
I thought it was horrible.
I agree. It should have been a last shot of Cassian. Like that's show
it.
Is supposed to be about him. I think that throwing a baby at the end is become like this cheap gimmick that people do all the time now, and
It's cheesy.
I don't need hope through a baby. Like, Cassian's actions with Jin are enough hope in and of themselves.
That's it. Yeah.
It really bothered me. I felt like it was a predictable, cheap gimmick. I felt like it was cruel also in a sense because Cassian gets left and isn't told the truth why. Do you really think it wouldn't be deeply hurtful for a person to find out? Like, say he finds out that she was pregnant and his whole life he's had no agency, right? He's taken, his parents are taken from him. He's taken by new people and thrown into a new environment. No choices ever. This woman makes a choice for him.
I hate it.
It's a continuation of a man with no agency. It's an insult to the character.
I hate everything about this because she didn't even give him a chance to want to be a father.
Yeah.
Oh, how nice of you, Bix, to take the choice completely out of his hands by never telling him he had a kid with her.
Yeah.
That's not nice. Don't do that. Oh, it's so noble, though. She went and found a safe place where she could raise Cassian's baby. Oh, how wistfully we look up to the sky and wonder if the pilot dad will ever come back. No. And the kid suffers for it.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know that he dies with the Death Star. She doesn't know.
She'll find out because he has...
I don't think she'll find out.
Vel will tell her. He has all these people to mourn him, and Jin has no one to mourn her. When Cassian says, you're not the only one who's lost everything, he hasn't lost everything. He has Vel. He's got Melshi at that point. He has Kay.
This is true.
He's got Mon Mothma. He has Draven. He has people. He's got friends. Jin is alone.
Jin has no one.
Yeah. And all the people, her found family from Rogue One, they all die with her.
Yeah. Yeah, so where was Jin? Oh, that's right. We never even spoke her name in this episode. Another issue I had. We're going to have a parting shot of Bix, so-and-so. Who the fuck? And we're not going to mention Jin Erso. We got Galen's name.
Yeah, barely.
I was so irritated that they didn't even say her name. It's just like how they won't say Ahsoka's name in the Kenobi show, and they won't say Obi-Wan's girlfriend. What's her name? Satine. They won't say Satine in The Mandalorian. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Star Wars, what are we doing not acknowledging the women that are the power behind these situations?
Mm-hmm. I know.
Over it.
I know. It feels like I know that Tony Gilroy has not been shy about kind of on Rogue One because it was in bad shape, apparently, when he was brought on to, like, fix the story before they finished editing it.
Okay.
So it sometimes has felt like Andor is his slap in the face to Rogue One, and that's unnecessary because Rogue One is really, really good. And to not mention Jin, okay, you and I are partial to her. We love her. She's one of our favorite Star Wars characters. Yes. Take our emotion out of it. Jin is living under an alias at this point. So they would have to know where she is in regards to her aliases. She would have to know her connection to Saw Gerrera and why that would be useful for the information that Cassian is about to get from Tivik. It would be useful to know that Galen Erso had a daughter, but where is she? She's not.
Exactly. I thought when they showed Saw on, like, the comm and like Mon was, like, arguing with him, that we were getting to mentioning Jin and how Galen is tied into this and how Jin is, like, the piece on the board that needs to be moved in order for all of this. Nothing.
Yeah.
Fell flat on its face.
And like we've said before, we're hours away from them needing her. And they have no idea, like, she's not been mentioned. She's not on their radar at all. You really think you're going to track this person down?
No, this would have taken a lot of intel. This would have taken a lot more than just one person. Mon would have known, knowing Saw and talking to Saw and knowing the connection that he had with her.
Yeah.
In their past. Luthen would have known.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too. Like, Luthen knew Saw a long time. He would have known Jin existed.
Oh, yeah, and he would have known. Luthen was smart enough to know, or at least figure out, that her father was involved with the Empire. Let's not say building a Death Star, but, because that all came out kind of last minute. But Luthen is not stupid. And he's got friends everywhere,
Right. And thought of Jyn as his daughter in his own
1,000%.
in his weird way.
Yes. We don't get that emotional scene in Rogue One without some lead into it.
Yeah. The fact that they don't mention it at all feels like maybe a purposeful insult, kind of.
Yeah, of course.
Why wouldn't you? She is the reason Rogue One exists and happens. She's the main character, like we said, not Cassian.
Yes, correct.
And it's just weak writing, in my opinion, that you're not trying to tie your strands together. Why the wouldn't you? And also the truth is, the whole thing with Lonnie, bringing all the intel at once, I thought was very convenient. This, in Rogue One, the book, they imply that Cassian has been working on this project for a long time, getting little pieces of disparate information, and finally puts it all together when he talks to Tivik. And then he's like, oh, my intel is starting to make sense now. He already knows about Jyn. He has a plan for extracting her already from Wabani. Where the was all this in the show?
Did they even mention Wabani? I don't think they did. I didn't hear it.
They did once in season 1 when Tim with 2 M's says, "Are we going on the Wabani run or something?" The planet was
Tim with
mentioned.
2 M's. There's someone I haven't heard of in a while. Tim with 2 M's. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. A.
Yeah, I have serious issues with the fact that they didn't mention Jyn, and now Cassian has a baby. What the guys? Can we just not try to be so out there, to completely not stick the landing? You were there, guys. You were right there. And then
Yeah. Yes.
I was so excited, and as soon as I saw that shot, as soon as I saw B, I was like, she's gonna have a baby. And there she was, walking with a baby out in the field, and I was like, God,
yeah.
Do we always have to have this perfect Madonna and child?
Right.
Women don't always have to have this kind of portrayal.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Also, did she actually choose the rebellion? If she moved to a peaceful... I know it was the remainder of the people back on whatever planet that was. And
Mina Route? If she wasn't safe there before, why is she safe there now?
I don't know. More questions than I wanted at that point. The other thing is, the only thing I appreciated about that scene was that B2 was fine. That he's okay and living his best life.
Yeah, he had a friend.
We did have closure on B, and it could have been cute just to end with him and
Seriously.
just be like, oh, good, B's okay.
Seriously, I have a little list of things that have no closure. Can I just run through it?
Let's do it.
Okay.
I love it. Let's go.
There's no Jyn. There's no more reference to Clem or Marva, except right at the last second. There's no reference to whether or not Nimic's manifesto is the thing on Cassian's jacket in Rogue One.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yep.
There's no mention of Cassian learning that he and Melshi helped build the Death Star.
That's true.
We don't know what happens to Kino Loy. We
That's
don't
true.
know what happens with the Maya Pei rebels. They never came back to that and connected it to Yavin or anything. It was a waste of time, it turns out.
It was. Absolute waste of time.
Why did they bother with Saw? Because they ended up not following any of the plotline with Will or any of that. Why did they, revolutionize Will only to have him go back to work for Luthen and not do anything else with Saw?
I thought it was very strange that he made it out of Saw's, inner circle.
Yeah, right? And just apparently walked away no problem after huffing, fumes with him. There's no real explanation of Cassian's line when he says, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. They didn't really actually address that. Mm-hmm. Also, he says, you're not the only one who lost everything, but he didn't lose everything. And there's no resolution about his sister. So there's just a huge list of loose ends that didn't need to be loose ends. We just spent time dealing with others over here and not actually addressing the like human part of Cassian, where he's a human being with interesting backstory. But instead we have this huge scope of like the Gorman front and the Death Star sort of. And like, I feel like they kind of lost track of the parts that are important are the humanity parts. And I really have to say, my personal feeling is that Tony Gilroy was obsessed with the character of Bix. He was infatuated with Bix. And so Bix became this central point, this pivot point, because Tony loved Bix.
Oh my. Hot take.
Yeah, that's because if you...
I can see it.
If you take her out and just put her like how Will was used and how Brasso was used, it actually gives you all this wiggle room to create more of Cassian. And they don't. They spend all this time developing Bix and not really developing Cassian. The show is called Andor. I was here to see stuff about Andor. Like, okay. Again, not the actress's fault. I don't...
No, this has nothing to do with any of the actors or actresses. Nothing.
Yeah, she's... Bless her. She's lovely. I just feel like... I feel disappointed, I guess, because I didn't get what I wanted a little bit.
Right, but we're aware that...
Yeah, like...
That's an emotion, and we're experiencing it. But
Yeah.
also, some of that is pretty important if we're tying it into Rogue One. That's where my line is drawn.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can accept not getting what I want. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
But, like, you had an end point. Like, you know where you're going. Why the f*** did you f*** so much of this up?
We ran out of all of our perfect, as Luther said.
Yes. Oh, my God. Yeah. And, like, I feel like this is one of the best production value shows I've ever seen.
Hands down, they did such a good job at what they did show. I mean, say what you will about whether or not you want this or that to happen. It was filmed beautifully.
It's beautiful. The acting is excellent. The music is exceptional. The costumes. It's one of the best things I've ever seen. My issue is with how they developed Cassian.
Yeah.
Everything else I loved. I loved Mon Mothma's arcs and Vel and
very
Luth
much, yes.
and Clea. Everybody was
Totally.
it was so beautifully done. I think there are issues with the timeline, and I think Cassian was like barely developed, and where he was developed is actually in contradiction with how he is in Rogue One. That's where my big issue is. It's a pretty big issue, considering.
It's a big issue because that's the tie-in to Rogue One.
Yeah.
Since we didn't get Jyn, we have to go off of what we have with Cassian.
Yeah. And there's
And the timeline.
Yeah, and he's not quite the way he is in Rogue One. He's pretty different, actually, which is a bummer. Because I love him in Rogue One.
Rogue One still remains my favorite non-Skywalker related Star Wars media, I guess you could say. Non-trilogy related media. I will never, ever forget how I felt in the theater seeing that movie. And I will defend it until the day I die. I don't know that I can add Andor to that because of that. I think that's why we feel so strongly, because Rogue One is just that good.
Yeah, and I think that part of why it works is because they don't actually fall into the cliches.
Yeah.
And I
Totally.
think Bix and Cassian falling in love is a bit of a cliche, and it's a little bit boring. Like, we've been there, done that. And I think why the tension with him and Jyn is so powerful is because it's unresolved.
Yeah. I still ship them.
I do too. And
I don't give a
I really think I'm going to have to compartmentalize Andor away from Rogue One. And
I've already started. I have to. There's stuff in there that like Luthen has changed a lot for me, and his character is the piece from Andor that I will defend till the day I die because of just how poignant his character was.
Yeah.
He is like the finest thing that came out of this series, in my opinion, that still works with what we know in Rogue One and doesn't destroy anything.
Yeah.
It strengthens a lot. It adds backstory without taking away from what we know in Rogue One, and on and on and on beyond Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot that I'm going to have to compartmentalize. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's pretty typical with Star Wars at this point.
I'm honestly getting tired of it.
I hate to say this, but I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm getting tired. Like, I feel like
We're being stretched and asked to accommodate a lot.
yeah, and like if we're gonna around with legacy stuff,
Yeah,
like, why?
Let's just not do that.
Yeah, maybe we should stop with legacy. I don't know. I don't want to be that shit talker, but I'm also at the point where I've had to watch a lot of things that are really meaningful to me. Things that have gotten me through the hardest periods of my life. And then they
Yes.
get ruined. And
Yes.
I've actually, like,
Yep.
maybe like 10 years ago, I almost got a Star Wars tattoo. And it was like whenever around like Disney bought Star Wars. And then I didn't for some reason.
Because of that?
Well, I just wasn't sure. And then it was a good thing I didn't, because all the stuff that I considered is now has a different meaning.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about the undermining of Vader's sacrifice with the whole like not prequel, the sequel trilogy.
Yes. Yeah.
That's obviously a major point.
Yeah.
And like that was all very,
the
very
point?
ruined. Like,
Like,
the points.
the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Return of the Jedi was undermined
Yeah.
in full by that. So, I've had to do this before, and I'll do it again with this show, but I that doesn't mean I like doing it. It doesn't mean it's fun. Because you see it, and you can't just ignore it, because you've seen it.
Right. Exactly. Like the whole idea of Luke being whatever he is in
please.
The Last Jedi. And then like Obi-Wan being undermined by bringing Darth Maul back. Even though it was a great plotline, it was entertaining. It really it took meaning away from what that character did.
Yes.
They just keep doing that, and I'm tired. I'm tired of it. I know that you and I had joked, like, if they said that Jin was Cassian's sister, that we would leave the fandom.
No, I would leave the fandom tomorrow, and I would never look back, and I'd be okay with it. Bye.
Yeah, and it's like, if they keep changing it, I'm gonna get really tired. And I love Star Wars, but it's starting to be like, I love Star Wars, but, I hate having to, like, qualify it. Ugh, well, all right. How do we wrap this up then?
What would you give the series as a whole? Shall we rate it?
My God.
There's too many ways to rate it. Because, like, filming-wise, costume-wise, acting-wise, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Timeline-wise, 5 out of 10. Where the is Jin? 0 out of 10. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess we can't. I guess.
It's hard because I felt season 1 was perfect and had had amazing potential. And I was really happy with the way season 2 started. And like every arc we went through, I became more and more deflated. And as Bix became more and more of a cliche, and Cassian didn't do anything, and then the timelines don't really match up, and so I don't know. I have really mixed feelings. I think it's one of the most perfect things I've seen, and one of the most frustrating and heartbreaking things I've seen, because I care that much about Cassian in particular and Rogue One. And I get it. If you're not obsessed with Rogue One and you don't have like an obsession with Cassian Andor, this is probably super great and entertaining.
Yeah.
And I can, I understand that.
Well,
I kind of came away feeling like I wish I had never watched it, because I'm sad the way it changed things about Rogue One for me.
You were fearful of that.
Yeah. If I had known, I wouldn't have watched it, I think.
Oh, I mean, I feel that way about a lot of stuff in Star Wars. But I am happy and thankful that we got characters like Luthen. Mm-hmm. And Clea. I love the backstory of Mon. Mm-hmm. I thought that was flawless.
Her.
Yeah. Genevieve really shines in every scene, no matter what it is.
My God, she's such a good
So
actress.
there's a lot of really good golden nuggets.
Yeah.
But as far as like the tale of Cassian Andor, Didn't stick the landing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let it ruin Rogue One because I just won't. I won't allow it.
I know I'm going to have to like reprogram my brain so that Rogue One looks exactly the same to me as it always did. Because I even wrote like a fic and my own fic meaning got changed because of this stupid show.
Well, I mean, you can still hold on to that. That's yours. Nobody.
I've been rereading it and it feels different. It made me so angry.
Oh.
Yeah. Which I just have to point out, how must Gareth Edwards feel?
I thought of that. I don't know. I'm with Gareth till the end. I'm a ride or die with him. I don't know.
I mean, like, he's the reason Diego Luna is Cassian Andor.
I know.
He chose him personally, like, without auditioning.
Yep.
It must feel like such a slap in the face. It must be so hard to see all this love and all these accolades going to Andor, which it deserves because it is incredible, the production value. But it's like, it's changing Rogue One, and Rogue One did not need to be changed. It was perfect, just as it is. That must be such a hard pill to swallow as the creator and director of that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart.
But he still has the best piece of post-original trilogy
truth
Star Wars out there, so he still wears the crown.
Because remember when Rogue One, it was like, it came out after the prequels, and it went back to tactile stuff. Like, it was real creatures and real sets. It wasn't green screening. And it felt like A New Hope again. It was like, oh my God, where has this been?
Truly.
It was special.
It really was. And I got to see it with you in theater when they re-released it.
I know. That was so much fun.
God, I cried just as much then as I did. What is wrong? Don't answer that question. I keep saying, what's wrong with me? But don't answer. But Rogue One, I mean, I know that it's emotional, but like, I cried for joy when Vader's in that hallway scene. I have problems. I'm not a violent person. I just really like the bad guy when he's at his prime.
Oh, I love you so much.
That's all. My final thought on this, I miss Jin. What's your final thought?
My final thought is just kind of like, that sums it up.
Fair.
All right, well, that's it. We're exhausted.
Oh my God.
We're going to go back to our every other week schedule because this is so tiring. Not only was it every week, but it was like 2-hour-long episodes every time. So
yeah, these are beasts to edit, just to let you know.
Yeah.
But we love our passion project, so we do it.
So we don't really know what we're going to talk about on our next episode, but we promise that it will be Obi-Wan Kenobi related because we both really need a palate cleanser, and we missed Obi-Wan during all this Andor talk. So
yes,
join us back, not next week, but the week after, because we're going to take a week off, and then we will talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And thank you so much for joining us here on the Most Things Kenobi podcast, especially during these very long Andor recap episodes. If you'd like to support the podcast by becoming a patron, head over to the Most Things Kenobi Patreon. We're currently revamping our 3 available tiers, and we're going to offer new and exciting content, and we hope you'll join us. For those of you who are already subscribed, we appreciate every single one of you and thank you for your support. You can also interact with us on our social media platforms such as Tumblr, Instagram, YouTube, and Threads, and don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast player. If you enjoy our podcast, we would love it if you would rate us on Spotify and or Apple. And if you need just one place to find all of these, head over to mostthingskenobi.com.
So until next time, my space twin, may the Force be with you.
Always.